It's Season 8 of the European Poker Tour, and we're back in Berlin. Against the backdrop of a city steeped in history, the latest leg of the tour promises to deliver tough competition, drama, and emotion.
Oh no!
When formidable pros clash with fearless foes, anything can happen. There's no room for error. One false move, and it's over. It's time to see who'll fall and who'll progress to day 2 at the PokerStars.com European Poker Tour from Berlin.
Berlin.
This is our 3rd visit to the German capital, and the tournament's attracted another bumper field. Each player bought in for €5,000, generating a prize pool of more than 3.7 million. Some of the game's biggest names have turned out to challenge for the trophy and the prestige of the EPT title. The victor will pocket €825,000. Last time, our 2 previous Berlin champions experienced mixed fortunes. Ben Wilanowski's title defense was short-lived. He was one of the first to hit the rail. On the flip side, Kevin McPhee had a strong start to day 1B. Meanwhile, on centre court, Boris Becker was joined by some adoring fans.
Might be the prettiest athlete I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, come on.
Other than you.
Yeah, no.
I think my sister used to like him. My little sister used to like him.
But it wasn't just the tennis legend in his comfort zone. All the local talent were marching on, hungry to lift the trophy on home soil. We're halfway through day 1B, and at our feature table, we have Jon Duhamel, Eugene Katchalov, and a recent EPT finalist. Fabrice Soulier is considered to be one of the best French players around. He's looking for another deep run, fresh off the back of his 3rd place finish at EPT Campione. Joining him at the TV table is former world champ Jon Duhamel. His confidence is sky high after an unprecedented run at this year's PCA.
I made 4 top 5 finishes in like a 10-day span, so it was just marvelous, and hopefully that's going to continue.
No stranger to high-stakes success is Eugene Katchalov. He's proven his pedigree on the EPT, taking down the inaugural super high roller at the PCA. Could this be the time for him to join the ranks of the Triple Crown Club?
I definitely think winning the main event is something that's more of a matter of time rather than if. Hopefully it'll come sooner rather than later.
But why have one super high roller champ when you can have 2? Online sensation Isildur 1, aka Swedish pro Victor Blom, took down this year's PCA super high roller. He's hoping to continue his blistering form at our secondary feature table. On the outer tables is Season 6 Berlin winner Kevin McPhee. He knows exactly what it takes to go all the way here in the German capital.
Playing in the room that I lifted the trophy in feels like I'm actually doing my title defense this year. You're going to have a certain amount of confidence, a certain amount of swagger, and a certain amount of intimidation factor. I'm going to try to just capitalize on that as much as I can.
But hoping to cause an upset under the TV lights is the fearless Cengiz Aluzu. With his unpredictable approach and a whole host of intimidating opponents eyeing up his stack, we're in for a rip-roaring conclusion to day 1B. 390 players remain from the 502 who started today. The aim of the game, survival. Make it to day 2.
Looks like Eugene Katchalov needs to catch up with his barber. Am I right, people? Is it just me or is Jon Duhamel pretty much the coolest thing to come out of Canada since winter?
We're not allowed to have headphones?
It's only for the rest of the night, don't worry.
You gonna sing? Nice. Yeah, if you dance with it, then that's pretty good.
La 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 la.
There's nothing cool about that, Joe.
I love that song.
Well, Jon Duhamel has the chip lead at this feature table. Eugene Katchalov has also got off to a great start in this tournament. Only one short stack in the 4-seat. Tournament average just over 38,600. Blinds are 250-500 with a 50 ante.
Yes, the mighty Thor is at the table.
And he folds pocket 5s.
Tight.
Alessandro Laubinger will also fold. Queen 3 for Hendrik Durschlag. He mucks. Cengiz Aluzu.
Did he even look at the second card? Guess he didn't really have to.
Fabrice Soulier. In the hijack with ace-10, will raise. Makes it 1,250. Ace-6 for Andre Murat on the button. He'll pass. Jakob Karlsson gives up the small blind. Eugene Katchalov in the big blind has ace-3.
This would be an awfully loose call. He could 3-bet it, but if you do and you get any action at all, you pretty much hate it.
He decides to defend, and he'll play the flop out of position.
Fabrice is lost without his music. Now he actually has to listen to other people at the table.
King 4-5 with 2 hearts.
Eugene's got himself in a spot where he pretty much has to call a bet here on the flop. I'd imagine Fabrice is going to continue.
He does, 1650.
Eugene's got the gut shot, sure, but if he thought his hand was maybe best before the flop, it could still be the best hand now, even though we know it's not.
He calls. Let's see what the turn brings. 6 of clubs.
Eugene open-ended now. This card basically ensures that he's got to stick around for at least one more street. Well, the only remaining street, unless there have been some rule changes I haven't been made aware of.
Both players check. The river is the 7 of clubs. Eugene gets there.
Yahtzee. Eugene backed his way into this like a parallel parking space.
He checks.
You win again.
Fabrice does not bet.
That is correct. Wow. I think Fabrice mucked before he saw the cards, even risky. Eugene could have bricked a flush draw or something. Even when the hand's over, there are still plays to be made.
The guy is too good.
Too lucky. Too lucky for you.
Classy answer. Classy answer from a classy guy.
Well, let's keep the Victor Blom fan club happy with some action from Isildur on the secondary feature table. Playing a pot against Tim Gerdes.
37. All in.
Tim has bet the river. Victor moves all in.
Seems excessive. Misclick. All the internet nerds at home just got super gassed. 4-6, hoping to be called by a 4.
Gerdes lets it go.
Betting 40,000 to win 10,000. Standard.
I noticed that Victor is wearing the bracelet he got for winning the PCA Super High Roller. Happy to see Victor on the telly? Let us know. Use the hashtag EPT Berlin. Well, there's tennis superstar Boris Becker. He's just limped in the small blind. I don't think JP Kelly's going to have any of this.
Nope.
Gonna have a little game.
JP raises and takes it.
Friendly game.
I wanted a big game. I wanted a big game.
Game I play with this.
Don't worry, JP. I'm sure when you guys hit the courts, Boris is just going to volley back and forth with you.
Kevin McPhee, EPT 6 Berlin champion, facing 2 all-ins.
Tough to be the third guy in without aces or kings. Queens are even pretty questionable.
Fabrice has shoved for 26,500. Johannes Hoffman is all in for nearly 40K.
Well, I think I know who's got queens. Railbird is getting awfully personal with Kevin. If they happen to both have ace-king, then he's in pretty good shape. If he has queens.
We will never know. He lets it go. Fabrice has kings. Hoffman has jacks.
Good fold if it was queens. If it was aces, terrible fold. Just terrible. You're a pro for crying out loud.
Fabrice set for a double up, and he gets it.
Fabrice has such a wild image. You could see why Hoffman would come at me, bro, with 2 jacks in that spot. Unfortunate.
Well, Hoffman has just lost more than half his stack.
I mean, look at him. Is that a guy who's ever going to have a real hand? Apparently, yes.
Kevin McPhee looking pretty happy about his fold.
Or the massage. I think Faraz meant to hashtag this, same shirt, different Paisley. What is that emoticon? Looks like a clown with a double chin.
Well, from Matthijs de Mulder to another popular Belgian pro, Davide Katai. He's got a World Poker Tour title, a World Series bracelet, so he's going for the Triple Crown here in Berlin, just like Eugene Katchalov. Both those guys among the tournament chip leaders right now, along with Jon Duhamel, Steve O'Dwyer, Victor Ramden, and the man atop the leaderboard, Andreas Vlachos. Back to our feature table. Action on Alessandro Laubinger. 5 deuce goes in the muck. Hendrik Durschlag has pocket tens.
Make no mistake, pocket tens are considered to be a big pocket pair. Still opening early with them is a scary proposition as far as I'm concerned, which is why I'm sitting here and not there.
He makes it 1850.
Apparently it's a scary proposition to Durschlag as well, considering he just raised more than 3x with them.
Cengiz Aluzu with king 7 of clubs. Looks interested.
Aluzu, what are you thinking about? Come on, get real. No one calls with king 7 suited in this spot. It's the 90s, brah.
Well, he decides to roll the dice, decides he wants to see a flop.
He is literally playing Yahtzee, I think.
Ace-king suited for Fabrice Soulier.
You're pretty happy to 3-bet in this spot. Ace-king suited is super strong, and with Aluzu horsing around, limping in there, there's a pretty good shot you can pick up some dead money.
He re-raises to 6,550.
Duhamel folds a pretty hand, but you gotta let it go at that point.
Action folded around the table. Back to Durschlag.
Durschlag's overraise and Aluzu's clowning have made this a very expensive call for Durschlag, but you can't just go folding big pocket pairs, especially since Fabrice could very well be 3-betting light.
He has called, and Aluzu has not folded yet.
Not sure if Aluzu's frowning or if that's just his regular face. Regardless, he's now got a second chance to do the right thing and fold this piece of cheese.
Nope, he's gonna come along as well.
Well, here we go.
Three-way to the flop with nearly 21,000 in the middle already.
This pot is massive.
Ace 9-6 flop with 2 spades. Top for Soulier.
Awesome flop for Fabrice, but hey, it's possible that Aluzu will see this flop as all black and go crazy. He certainly seems to be a fan of the color.
Durschlag checks.
He's no longer the aggressor, checking to the razor.
Aluzu checks.
Perfect spot for Fabrice to continue.
Soulier makes it 6,200.
Small bet, then again, betting half of this ginormous pot would have been a third of Fabrice's stack.
Hang on a second, what's this? Durschlag raises to just over 15K.
Somewhat nonsensical. You're never getting called by worse, and the only hands you're bluffing out are kings, queens, and jacks.
Aluzu finally finds a fold.
And rather nonchalantly, I think I'm gonna really like this Aluzu guy. There's not much for Fabrice to be thinking about here. I think he's more likely making it look like he's got a decision, so Durschlag stacks off with a smaller ace.
Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm all in.
He shoves.
Fire is all in.
Whoops. Don't think you can call, sir.
He's getting a great price, but he has to lay it down. Soulier wins a huge pot.
Durschlag's raising the flop really seemed to be more out of frustration than anything else.
Da Fabrice. Fabrice.
Ad break. Ad break.
Welcome back to the German capital for the Berlin leg of the European Poker Tour. So far, Fabrice Soulier's experienced mixed fortunes at our TV table. We just saw the Frenchman take down a 3-way pot. Pre-flop, Soulier 3-bet ace-king suited and picked up 2 callers. The flop gave Soulier top in position. Both players check to him, and at this stage, it may seem like a standard spot for a continuation bet, but let's hear from some familiar faces on the tour to see what they would do here.
You can't really read into the checks at all. The checks don't really define anything about their range. When they check to you, this is just a board where, as the pre-flop aggressor, you can have an ace in your hand a lot more than they can. So you can take down the pot here a huge percentage of the time, whether you have ace-king or whether you have like 7-3.
Now, he has made a luring in continuation bet, and his opponent's taken the bait. He certainly is faced with a difficult post-flop decision, but he's kind of messed up a little bit here with his bet sizing. When you make a really small continuation bet after a squeeze play, you're going to get into a leveling situation with your top pair. The decision comes down to, do you want to call or do you want to raise and protect your hand? If you think that he has a pure bluff, then you just call and let him keep bluffing. If you think he has a semi-bluff in his hand, then you should shove and protect your hand because there's a lot of turn cards you don't like.
Given the size of the pot pre-flop, the fact that he hits a big hand, top pair, top kicker, on a relatively wet board, you know, with a flush draw and, you know, a couple straight draws out there, combined with the fact that his player, you know, his opponent is pretty aggressive and tricky, this check raise small to me looks like either an absolute monster or a fold. I'm happy enough, get all in, kind of hope I don't get snap called. You know, I'm betting small on purpose to try to induce the raise. When he raises, I'm going all in and kind of hoping, praying to the poker gods that I can double up.
I think with Soulier's stack size, going all in against the check raise is the only real option there. I think against the vast majority of people, you just want to make sure to, you know, get the money in against their Sammy bluffs, and I think just going all in on the flop is the right play there.
By the way, I said all that, just so you know. Look, maybe I didn't say every single little tiny syllable no, but basically I said it, yeah.
Action folded around to Fabrice. He raises to 1250. Jonathan Duhamel 3-betting here with 9-7 of diamonds.
Getting a little cute UTG +3, which, by the way, is the new button, if you hadn't heard.
Action folded around to the blinds. Laubinger in the small. 6-9 suited.
Couple of Jonathan's outs.
He mucks it. And Derschlag gives up the big. Back on Fabrice. He makes the call.
The nonchalant, I'm counting my chips in the last hand because I got so many chips and not really paying attention call.
Let's see a flop. Top pair for Fabrice. Second pair for Jonathan.
Top pair again with another good kicker. Jonathan's flopped a 7 and a diamond, which isn't exactly the nuts. Jonathan gives up the betting lead.
Trips now for Soulier. Duhamel picks up the diamond draw.
Which, by the way, is his only hope for winning this hand.
Soulier checks a second time.
He's maybe convinced Jonathan he doesn't have an ace, but Jonathan probably doesn't really care. If he bets, he's really only trying to build a pot for if the diamond hits.
He makes a delayed C-bet of 2,700.
You know what they say, if you build it, they will come.
Fabrice check raises, makes it 6,200 total.
At this point, Jonathan's certain he's behind. There's a chance his hand is good, but if it's not, he's got some nice implied odds if he can hit his diamond.
He calls. Let's see what the river brings. Diamond.
If you build it, they will come. Looks like Fabrice isn't afraid of the flush, but is afraid Jonathan might check behind now that he got raised on the turn.
I call.
8,400, a quick call. Fabrice not happy.
Too good. Lucky job. I know exactly what job. So sickle. Every time you do it to me, backdoor. Good job.
What's the French word for sarcasm? You know, there's an argument for Jonathan raising there. Definitely against a weak player, but against Fabrice, 1, you might not be best. 2, he could blow you off. And 3, he may not pay off anyway.
Jonathan Duhamel closing in on the 100,000 mark. He may only have one EPT cash to his name, but he's the guy who took down the 2010 World Series of Poker main event for nearly $9 million. And clearly, Jonathan has more luck in even-numbered years than odd-numbered years.
Well, at the end of 2011, and poker-wise, it wasn't going that well. That some kind of a home invasion happened, something pretty bad in my place. I was kind of beat up, and so it was tough for me after that. But you know, I kind of spent a lot of time during Christmas with my family and my good friends, and I tried just to refocus. And so I went to PCA, and I made 4 top 5 finishes in like a 10-day span. So it was just marvelous.
I'm all in.
Since then, everything's going well. So, you know, trying to do my best, and hopefully that's going to continue. That streak's going to continue.
I really hope his streak continues from the PCA to here in Berlin. Seriously, Jonathan is one of the nicest dudes in poker. I really hope he wins all the money this year to make up for his lost bracelet.
Well, from one world champion to the reigning world champion, Piers Hines. Tweeting at George Danzer.
George Danzer. Hold me closer, George Danzer. Also, I have no idea what that tweet means.
And from a German poker champion to a German tennis champion, facing an all-in from Maxim Semisashenko.
If Boris makes this call and loses, he will be side out.
He folds his hand. Boris sitting on 17,500 near enough, way below the tournament average. We head back now to our feature table. Action will be on Cengiz Aluzu. He's under the gun. He has Jack-8 of spades.
Aluzu, what are you up to?
He caps his cards with the dice. He reaches for chips, and he raises to 1,300.
Yes, I love this guy.
Fabrice Soulier with ace-5 offsuit, 3 bets to 3,600.
Fabrice has probably got a good read on Aluzu in his loosey-goosey ways, but also I'm sure he's still tilting a little bit from that last hand with Jonathan.
Action folded around to the blinds. Laubing has given up the small. Derschlag in the big. What's he doing? He's got Jack-4 off.
I think it's a dramatic fold. Now we all know what Aluzu should do, but the dice are telling him otherwise.
He calls.
This is hilarious. What is he doing in this pot? And they're under the gun and under the gun +1. Lols.
Well, Aluzu picks up an up and down straight draw. He checks to Soulier, who's still in the lead with ace-high.
See you at the river.
Soulier checks behind. Pair of jacks now for Aluzu.
Aluzu's got top pair. He's open-ended, and Fabrice has given up the lead.
Aluzu now leads for 4,000.
Time to say au revoir, Fabrice.
Oh no.
Mon Dieu!
Those are raising chips. He makes it 8,700.
Someone call Lord Helmet because Fabrice's radar has been jammed.
Aluzu makes the call. We go to the river. Huge pot building here. The board pairs.
Top pair just got a little weaker. A flush draw came in, which Fabrice could have been semi-bluffing the turn with. And in spite of all that, I think his chances of getting Aluzu to fold the river are slim and none, and Slim just logged out.
Aluzu checks. Soulier bets, tries to steal it. 11,500.
We know Aluzu's not one to fold. But if he looks confused here, it's because Fabrice's line looks ridiculously bluffy.
He calls.
Almost folded. I'm nothing. He's high.
Aluzu slams it down with authority. He's like a Turkish Robert De Niro.
Yeah, you play good.
I think the wheels are coming off for Fabrice. The gloves, at least.
Aluzu now up to more than 61,500.
You're the boss.
Do you think he really means that?
No. Over to the secondary feature table. It's Timoshenko against Blom.
Doesn't look like Yevgeny's got too many chips there.
2250.
He bets that flop of Queen 9 deuce with 2 hearts. 2250. Victor makes the call.
Quick call, usually indicative of a big draw. Victor's got a few live tells.
King of hearts on the turn.
Well, every draw in the world just got there.
Victor's checked a second time.
Yevgeny seems undeterred.
4,000.
He bets again, 4,000. Victor checking his hand. And putting Timoshenko all in.
That puts you all in, my good man in the undershirt.
Yevgeny makes the call. Victor tables a straight. Timoshenko has an overpair.
No wonder he was undeterred. Yevgeny picked up a draw himself to the nuts. Didn't get there.
So Victor Blom eliminates Yevgeny Timoshenko. Wins a pot with nearly 26,000 in it.
Look, I don't want to say Victor's an easy read live, but we all secretly call him Dr. Seuss.
He now has a stack of 88,000, meaning he's among the tournament chip leaders, along with fellow Swedes David Sonlin and William Thorson. Andreas Vlachos still out in front. Jonathan Duhamel is 10th on the leaderboard, and he's the chip leader at our feature table. The blinds are up to 300-600 with a 75 ante. Action on Duhamel. He folds. Rolled it around to Hendrik Derschlag, who has aces.
I'm not going to lie, James. This is a good starting hand.
He's in late position. He's in the cutoff. He raises to just over 2K.
Again, this guy loves the 3-point-X plus raise. It's like watching someone use a rotary phone. God bless him.
Cengiz Aluzu makes the call on the button with ace-6 off.
I'm going to go ahead and say that calling with ace-6 here is not good. Yes, he's in position, but still, no.
Soulier makes the call as well with King 9 suited in the big blind.
Getting some decent pot odds, already some money in there, and he's suited.
Flop gives Soulier the diamond draw.
Kind of a big flop for Fabrice, even though he's only got king high at the moment. Plenty of equity against 2 aces.
Durschlag continues for 2,000.
Have to start betting for value right away.
Luzu folds the ace-6.
Fabrice just calls us he's likely to face an all-in on the turn, and I don't think he can fold it.
He raises. Durschlag's all in. Soulier calls.
Okay. Nice.
You've got outs.
Fabrice still tilting, but he played this one just fine.
Durschlag, 64% favorite to double up.
Ace of diamond.
Equity for Fabrice.
Picks up some more funky ways to win the hand. 2 pair and trips are now possibilities. Durschlag still heavily favored.
Has to fade a king, a 9, or a diamond on the river.
Fabrice in a good mood for now.
He must have seen it coming. Diamond seals Durschlag's fate.
Good game, man. Sorry. Pleasure.
Jonathan, you're actually up for player's choice, and voting is technically closed. But if you're on your computer, you can still follow me at Stapes on Twitter. Eugene's been even quieter than usual, which is saying a lot, or not saying a lot if you're being literal.
So Hendrik Durschlag heads to the exit. The rest of the players heading out on a short break. Action will resume in a couple of minutes. If you want to play in an EPT event, go to PokerStars.com, where there are qualifiers every day. Welcome back to Berlin, playing host to the PokerStars.com European Poker Tour. So far this season, we have crowned 11 champions on the tour. At Campione, Danish pro Yannick Rang entered the ranks of the elusive Champions Club. Joining Rang at the final table was a familiar face. Frenchman Fabrice Soulier challenged the Dane in an epic final that lasted over 14 hours. Soulier was eliminated in third by Yannick in a pot that would have given him the chip lead. With such a close call so fresh in his mind, the French pro will be looking to secure another deep finish here in Berlin.
14-hour final table, are you kidding me? We get paid hourly, right? No! Crud.
Blinds are up to 400, 800 with a 100 ante. Action has been folded around to Fabrice Soulier. He's picked up ace-king again. Makes it 2,100.
Fabrice very active today.
Jon Duhamel has folded the small blind. Andre Murat has 6-7 suited in the big blind.
Haven't heard much from Murat so far today, and, well, even though 6-7 suited is an okay hand, he must be bored.
He makes the call, we go to the flop. And that flop gives Murat top pair.
And here comes the donk bet.
Interesting. 3,500.
And it's a big one, too. This play is not recommended. My guess is that he's just terrified of getting sucked out on and wants to protect his hand.
Fabrice makes the call in position. We go to the turn. 3 of spades.
Pretty safe card for Murat. Fabrice is turning up here with a 3 almost never.
Murat bets again, 5,000.
This time not a donk bet because he wrangled the betting lead away with his donk bet on the last street.
Fabrice decides to raise to 11K.
Looks like Fabrice has made a pretty good read on Murat's hand, but I'm not sure what he's trying to rep, an overpair, I guess.
Murat moves all in and Fabrice snap calls.
What just happened?
Oh, you're good.
What in the world just happened there? I don't think anyone's winning any awards in this hand, but Fabrice wasn't even remotely committed on the turn. Which means he thought he was ahead. Murat is in a great spot to double up.
Fabrice needs an ace or a king, it's a jack. So Murat does get that double up.
Now I'm going to record a public service announcement. As you can see, tilt is a very real problem, and tilt kills. Just look at this poor, angry French poker player. Don't let this happen to you. Please give generously.
I think he's angry with himself. He's had upswings and downswings today. Right now he's in the middle of a serious downswing. Over to our secondary feature table where Rick Striefland has come over the top of Victor Blom's opening raise. All in for 8,400. And Victor calls, putting Striefland at risk.
I've got ace-7. How do you like them apples?
Wow. Interesting call, Victor.
Striefland, you're ahead, buddy. Try not to look so uncomfortable.
66% favorite to get the double up. 8-4-5 flop.
Scary flop race, Jack.
Deuce of diamonds on the turn gives Victor more outs.
Scarier turn, a 3 would end in a chop. As long as it's not the 3 of diamonds.
It's a deuce. So Striefland does double up through Blom.
And Victor doesn't really seem to be sweating it much.
Well, that was no biggie, considering he plays 7-figure pots online and once lost a pot worth more than $1.3 million to Patrick Antonius. We saw him at the PCA this year, where he won the Super High Roller event for more than $1.2 million.
I didn't play much with Victor. I've played with him some other past tournaments. Still have some problem understanding him when he speaks in English. But for the rest, I mean, he's a very good player, very dangerous player.
You should hear what Jonathan says about Victor when the cameras are off. Still very complimentary, actually.
Across the room, it's Jacka versus McPhee. 2,100 apiece on the flop. 7 of diamonds on the turn.
Kevin called a bet from Faraz on the flop.
And now Faraz checks, and Kevin bets 5,200.
About half the pot.
Faraz makes the call.
The board was pretty dry. Even now, I'm only upgrading it to damp.
4 of hearts on the river.
You've got 5-6, you're golden.
Faraz checks again. McPhee betting just over half the pot, 11,300.
One more time.
Faraz makes the call. And Kevin shows ace-queen for top pair, top kicker.
Top is good.
Faraz will muck, and Kevin will add more than 22,000 chips to his stack.
I'm assuming Faraz must have had something like king-queen and got pipped.
Jack-queen, actually.
Not bad, Stapes. I'm here to pat myself on the back. I have to know what's going to happen after that ellipsis. I have about 60K and the suspense is killing me.
Boris Becker is all in, but he is ahead. Sam Cohen called him with ace-queen. And Boris just has to fade a queen on the river. He's home and dry.
B-Bex doubles up. Guy knows a thing or two about doubles. He won a gold medal in doubles in the '92 Olympics. Not bad.
Isn't Wikipedia a glorious thing?
James, I knew that off the... No, I Wikipedia'd it.
It's the battle of the Belgians here. Davide Katai against Kundavisha.
And that look just said, ooh, girlfriend.
Davisha's made it 4,200. Katai calls. King of spades on the turn.
Let's see if Kuhn keeps firing.
Katai's check to him. And Davisha checks behind. 8 of hearts on the river.
Well, anyone who is semi-bluffing the flop is now sorely disappointed.
Check, check. Davisha shows ace-10, Katai ace-jack.
Davisha wondering if he could have maybe stolen that pot with another bet somewhere. Probably. The answer is probably, but oh well, too late now.
That pot takes him up to 190,000. That will give him the tournament chip lead. He sits atop the leaderboard with 238 big blinds. Andreas Vlachos and William Thorson still up there. Kevin McPhee's new to the top 10, as are Jakob Karlsson and Cengiz Aluzu, who'll be the 2 big stacks at our feature table.
All right, well, let's kick it on over to feature tableville.
Blind still 400, 800 with a 100 ante. Aluzu's first to speak. Pocket eights.
Aluzu's finally got a hand, and it's from his favorite position, early.
Looks like he's raising. That is a big raise, 2,800. Fabrice Soulier moves all in with ace-5. Jonathan Duhamel picks up ace-jack on the button.
Don't see how Jonathan can fold this. He does have to worry about the blinds in the original raiser, but Aluzu's yet to show down a monster.
I call.
He calls Soulier's all in.
Fabrice is tilting worse than a painting hung by a blind man.
Andre Murat has ace-queen in the small blind.
Obviously, we know Murat has a good hand and could come over the top of a lot of them, but he'd have to move all in, and with a raise, then a shove, then a call, you feel like an absolute tool when you get it in bad with ace-queen.
He lets it go. Sits back on Aluzu.
It's an all-in or fold situation for Aluzu. Though Olusu's been known to go for option C, which oddly enough stands for call.
He does make the call. It's a Soulier all in. Potential action on the side between Olusu and Duhamel. Wow, the flop gives Olusu top set. Duhamel with 2 overs to the board and the nut flush draw. Olusu checks.
What a flop.
Jonathan bets big, Olusu shoves. Duhamel makes the call.
What's happening here? What did I pick? What spot did I pick? Oh, beautiful.
Olusu in a great spot here to eliminate 2 tough opponents.
This is just a cooler at this point. Someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. Someone in addition to Fabrice, that is.
The turn means Fabrice Soulier is drawing dead. Jonathan Duhamel will need a heart on the river to survive.
Who would have ever seen this coming?
Soulier's already heading for the exit.
So I guess Fabrice saw it coming.
It's not a heart. Olusu wins a huge pot and takes out both Jonathan Duhamel and Fabrice Soulier.
Knocking out 2 players on the same hand, one of them a world champion. Jonathan had an incredible run at the PCA. Unfortunately, here in Berlin, not so much.
I think it's fair to say that that was a huge shock. 2 of the biggest names in the game sent for an early bath by Cengiz Olusu. Let's hear from the former world champ to try to get to grips with what happened there.
Table was pretty crazy, so Fab was playing super crazy. The other one who won the hand was super crazy too. And so he raised, Fab was kind of tilted, he shoved all in. I had ace jack of hearts, flop came perfect for me, 8-7 with 2 hearts, so I had 2 overs in the flush draw. The guy checked, so I have like a 40K in front of me. I shoved, like easy shove. And then he flopped trips, so I had outs, I didn't hit, I got out. And yeah, that's it.
Always expect the unexpected in No Limit Hold'em. We lose 2 world-class players. Action continues in Berlin after the break. This is the PokerStars.com EPT Berlin from the Grand Hyatt, hosted by the Spielbank Berlin. Before the break, we saw Cengiz Olusu eliminate an EPT finalist and a former world champion in one fell swoop. The Dice Man now has over twice as much as any of his featured table opponents, and with his unpredictable style of play, we're certainly guaranteed an interesting end to Day 1B.
Cengiz Olusu and I played at the final table of EPT Germany 3 years ago. He was usually relatively tight, but would make very erratic moves at times. The most memorable hand for sure was during this one hand, Olusu made like a bigger than usual raise. I went all in with 2 kings, folds back to Olusu, and then he just pulls out a coin, flips the coin, it comes up heads, and he calls it King 2. Kings against King 2 is as big of a favorite as you can be in poker. He flops it 2 and a backdoor flush draw, but misses them both. So that was a pretty fortunate pot. I mean, he's definitely somewhat of a gambler, so I think having the dice is somewhat fitting. I think that rolling the dice is a good improvement on flipping the coin. I like it. I like his style.
Mike McDonald's the fan of any style that sees people calling all-ins with King Deuce.
Olusu back in action. He's 3rd in chips overall in the tournament. He's raising here with 8-6 offsuit. Jakob Carlsen has a genuine hand, pocket aces.
You mean Danny Noonan with a couple of ace balls? Miss it, Noonan. Miss it.
He raises. It's a 3-bet to 4,500. Oh, Eugene's got kings.
Oh boy, Eugene's been biding his time all day waiting for a spot like this, and now he's about to get coolered worse than Han Solo and Carbonite. I mean, I forgot he was here, and now he's very likely to be legit gone in a hot minute.
He 4-bets to 11,000. Frederick Anderson has Queen Jack off suit.
I know Anderson is short, but I don't think you're ever going to be drawing live at this point with Queen Jack. He's going to need a bigger miracle than Eugene.
He calls all in. Cengiz Olusu gets out of the way. Carlsen. He's 5-betting. Makes it 19,500.
Eugene's thinking for a second, but there's no shot he gets away.
All in.
He shoves.
Call.
And Carlsen calls. A 3-way all in. Joe, €5 says the Queen Jack wins.
You're on. Thornose is not looking good for him, and it's a long trip back to Asgard.
Carlsen, big favorite to knock out 2 players. Are we going to see another double elimination from our feature table?
€5, please, Hartigan.
Okay, it's not looking good for Anderson.
Super unscary flop for 2 aces.
The turn sees Anderson drawing dead and Katchalov needing to catch a king.
Carlsen in a really good spot to win a massive pot, knock out a huge name player, a Cinderella story.
The river is a deuce. So we lose Eugene Katchalov from the EPT Berlin main event.
Whoa, Eugene looked like he was about to come at me, bro. Another double elimination, sick. This dealer is the Widowmaker.
And Carlsen up to 155K.
My day 1 started pretty good. It was going good all the way towards the end until I ran into aces with kings. I guess I'm going to stick around, play some side events, and then Monaco. I'm very much looking forward to the grand final. It's the biggest event of the year, so it should be good.
Wait, we get to go to Monaco? Do we get to wear tuxes the whole time?
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
We're coming to the end of day 1B. Evan McPhee facing a bet here from Adam Jarbo. McPhee makes the call. Interesting board. Jarbo looks like he wants to bet again. He does, 4,800.
That bet's just a third of the size of the pot, and it looks like something about it just isn't sitting right in Officer McPhee's gut.
He raises to 15,000.
Big raise, pot size raise, that's how you rep a hand.
And Jarbo makes the fold.
Yet another suspect folds under the hot lights of the Officer McPhee interrogation.
Kevin playing 139,000, more than double the tournament average. At our secondary feature table, Victor Blom's in action, facing an all-in from Stefano Puccilli.
Well, I hope they wouldn't have brought us all the way over here just to watch Victor fold. That'd be boring.
He's not folding, he's calling. What's he calling with?
Hope it's as good as ace-7.
Threes. And he's actually in front.
It's a race, an uncommon one, but a race nonetheless.
Puccilli looking for an 8 or a 5.
Someone tell Victor that mouth tells don't matter right now.
The river is a blank.
Puccilli River's a flush. Draw.
The Italian is the latest victim of the Victor Blom wrecking machine.
Is Victor Blom going to go on another sick run here in Berlin after PCA? If that happens, the internet will probably break.
Let's check in on reigning world champion Piers Hines. He's actually all in, as is Ali Azab Daftar. Decision on Bahadir Kilakaser.
Quick recap, Hines open, as of a 3-bet, Kilakaser called, Hines 4-bet all in, as was a 5-bet shove, and now it's on Kilakaser to call. He might be pot stuck.
He calls. And look at this. Aces versus kings versus queens.
Ali Azab Daftar has his initials.
Great spot for the Austrian.
What a cooler.
Oh, king on the flop.
Kilakaser hitting his initial.
Kilakaser has both players covered, and he eliminates them both with quads.
I know you're excited, man, but come on, get it quietly. Everyone thinks it's okay to knock out the WSOP champ, but you know, he's a person too. A very rich person.
Kilakaser up to nearly 100,000 in chips. Back to our feature table. This will be the last hand of the day. Jakob Carlsen opens with a raise to 1,800. He's got king 9 suited.
Look at Carlsen getting all cute from early now that he's got chips.
You'll notice that a few new players have joined our feature table. Cengiz Aluzu's still there.
He loves that Jack 8. The dice must have told him to do it.
They're not even suited, but he's going to make the call.
Elusu is an animal that has gills and swims in water and isn't a shark. Any guesses? You said it, not me.
Ranasur in the big blind. He's 3-5 off.
He's getting better than 5-1.
He calls as well.
Terrifying, I take it all back.
We're going 3-way to the flop.
Can we go back and take that fish stuff out?
Well, the flop is Jack 4-4, top pair for Eluzu.
Eluzu cannot lose.
Carlsen, the king high flush draw. He also has 2 overs to the board. He doesn't continue though, he checks on over to Eluzu.
He's giving up the lead. No reason Eluzu shouldn't bet this.
Makes it 4,400. Azor gets out the way.
See if Carlsen gave up the betting lead so he could check raise this paired board with his flush draw.
He calls.
Huh.
We go to the turn. 7 of diamonds.
Check.
Carlsen checks a second time.
Eluzu wasting no time trying to protect that top pair, and I like it.
12,500 is the bet.
Big bet. Big bet. Making it mathematically infeasible for Carlsen to call.
He's not calling, he's raising, 28,000.
I'm not a huge fan of this line at all. First of all, it's never going to work on Eluzu. He doesn't fold. Second of all, why would you check call the flop, giving up the betting lead with a good hand and then check raise the turn?
Eluzu makes the call.
The line makes less sense than the last line in the movie Blade. Look it up. Also, I did mention that Eluzu doesn't fold.
6 of clubs on the river. Uh-oh. Carlsen is going to bluff the river. And as you said, Joe, there is no such thing as fold equity against Cengiz Eluzu.
Also, this bet is pretty small. It's only about 1/3 of the pot. It's less than his raise on the turn. Not a huge fan. Even if Eluzu weren't a total calling station, I think he'd be perfectly justified in making this call.
Baby raise for a flop.
Shh, I think he's talking to the dice. Love this guy, by the way.
He calls.
Yeah.
Poor kid just dusted off more than 1/3 of his stack. Colon dash open parenthesis. Look, whatever Eluzu's doing is working for him. Personally, I think he's an absolute genius. You can't argue with results. Poor Jakob Carlsen picked the wrong guy to bluff. Drink it up.
So on the final hand of the first day of the tournament, Cengiz Eluzu wins a huge pot, which takes his stack up to nearly 244,000, meaning he'll come into day 2 of EPT Berlin with the chip lead. Other players who've had a good day 1B include Belgium's Davide Katai, British pros Mark Wright and Jake Cody, and season 6 Berlin champion Kevin McPhee.
This is the first time I've been back in this room since I won the EPT, and it feels really good. I mean, there's a lot of nostalgia coming back here. The last round, I just started kind of buying beers for everybody at the table and kind of putting it in cruise control, you know, and I still chipped up quite a bit, so I'm pretty happy.
Next time, the survivors from days 1A and 1B merge. 9 former champions are vying to win an historic second trophy.
Be the first one to win a second EPT is definitely been my goal, so I'll try to do that here.
Seasoned pros Vanessa Selbst and Barry Greenstein are waiting for their turn to take down an EPT title. On the feature table, Victor Blom and Felix Schulze go to war.
I don't believe you.
Each one will stop at nothing to stamp their mark on the EPT.